All right, so we're drawing squares on our piece of paper, and then we're gonna work on our line work. So once you have your squares, I'm gonna leave this, this example here of what we can do with our lines. So using your drawing pen or your charcoal or your graphite pencil, I'd like you to see if you can play in each of those squares with different ways to use your line. Let me get Franny in here too. Okay, and sometimes they're crossing over each other. That's actually called cross-hatching. Sometimes they're going straight up and down. Sometimes they go across. And I want you to just play with it a little bit because that is something that's specific to comic books. And it's something that helps us to create that comic book look with our drawings. How you doing, Franny?
Can we make maps? Like draw a
I couldn't find the link, so I missed it.
Oh, that's okay, no worries. So I'm gonna go ahead and give us a little review of what we're going over right now. So right now, I just want you to draw some squares. And you're gonna draw your squares right onto your piece of paper, and it can be in your sketchbook or you can just have it on a loose piece of paper. Draw some squares, and then we're gonna play with our lines and see if we can find creative ways to use our lines to make something more interesting. Oh, that's okay, don't worry. If you don't have paper, you can either watch what I'm doing. I'll go ahead and do an example. Or if you have a pad or even a little Post-it notes, you can use that too. Okay. Okay, let's see. And let me go ahead. I'm going to leave this up here for a moment. Okay, let's see. And I'm going to go ahead and put this up, and then I'm going to do a demo for anybody who doesn't have paper, okay? So I'm going to leave this up. You can work on yours, or if you want to wait just 1 second, I'll start doing some in a demo for anybody who doesn't have paper, okay?
I have to hang up because my computer's about to die.
Okay, if you come back in, I'll just let you back in.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so if you are working on your line work, go ahead and keep going. If you don't have paper with you today, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing an example so that you can take a look on the screen and you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm gonna put this down for a moment.
This is what I did because I couldn't find the link. I just made.
Oh, cool. Look at that.
And then I made a dragon.
Wow, very cool. Okay. So let's see. So I'm going to go, and if you've already done a couple squares and you want to work on a different character, that's okay too. Let's see. We got Kaden coming in. Hey, Kaden. Hey, Kaden, how you doing? All right, there we go. All right, so if you are just joining us or if you got kicked off here, we're working on our squares. If you don't have any paper, I'm going to do a demonstration here so that you can see what we're talking about. So in the comic books, a lot of times the comic book artists are using lines. All right, sometimes there's not even any color in there. Whoops, these squares are kind of goofy, but that's okay. All right, so maybe if there's an area that they want to shade in, instead of coloring it with a paint or with a crayon, a lot of times they'll go through and just do some line work here. So maybe they're drawing lines all the way across. And I'll show you an example in some actual books here too. Okay, so maybe they're doing lines all the way across like that, just to show some shading or an area that's a little darker. Sometimes maybe they'll do cross hatching, which means it's kind of like little X's that they're doing across the paper. Okay, and maybe it kind of branches out a little bit depending on what area you're trying to cover there. So it's just like little X's. All right, and then sometimes there will be different designs. Maybe they have, whoops, let me go ahead and get, you know what, you're showing up as Wendy, and that's not your name, is it? That's your mom's name or your grandma's? Gotcha, go ahead and let me Make sure I have your name right on my attendance here. What is your name again? I'm sorry.
Josie.
That's what it was. I'm sorry. I knew it wasn't Wendy. Go ahead, Josie.
I can't find what color of charcoal pencil should I use?
If you have black, black is great, but you can always use brown. You can use blue. You can use any color that she has. Can you show me what she has there?
She has 2 white charcoal pencils, and I can't find the black one. She says it's somewhere in here.
Okay. Does she have a graphite pencil, kind of like a regular pencil or pen?
I don't know. She has this one.
What is that?
I think this is the
right.
black charcoal pencil.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, good, Luke. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Luke. Yep, that looks good. So you can use that one for sure. That looks good. All right. And I'm going to keep working on a little bit for anybody who doesn't have paper. If you want to show me what you're working on, you can. And if you feel like you've gotten some practice and you want to go into a different character or something you're working on, that's okay too. Okay.
I'm gonna work on my this some more. The thing where I'm doing like those silly things, like this.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you can work on that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I made another one. I'm doing like holiday related ones. So
Okay.
I made a Halloween one.
Cool.
Comes up to him, and he's in like a pumpkin costume, and he says, "Nice costume. Let me guess, Frankencat." And then his younger brother thinks back, because he looks like Frankenstein, but Frankencat. For cats, it's Frankencat. And then, so he's all green. And then he thinks back to what he did earlier, because he was just having fun by jumping into a kiddie pool full of green paint.
Whoa, cool. Whoops, there's
So
coming in too. Cool, I like your
Now making
stories, Katie.
another-
Let's see, there's Emerson coming in. Hey, Emerson.
These are my squares.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So one thing, I think we're having a couple of us are coming in from the other link. So the thing that's going to be a little confusing for us is that we're going to be doing 2 days comic and 2 days art. So be careful when you're coming in that you're choosing the art or the comic book link depending on which class that we're doing. Okay, so just be careful. I know a lot of you guys were already in here at the beginning, but since we're going to be going back and forth, it actually goes back and forth between those two. So if you ever have trouble finding us, try the other one here. Okay.
Now I'm making a Christmas one of my silly things that happen with these two.
Oh, yeah? You know what? I'm going to let you guys work quietly for 1 second. I'm going to see if I can get Gus in here. I'm going to send him a link to join up with us because he's having trouble getting in. Just 1 second. Okay. 1 second, you guys. I'll be right back with you. I'm just going to make sure we can get him in here.
Oh. Yeah, you just mentioned Darcy. She mentioned Darcy. So I picked it up and
Okay. Let's see. So I just sent it to him. Let's see if we can get him in here. And you guys, if you're still working on your line and you're cross-hatching, well, I'm going to give you one more moment on that, and then we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about something else that we can use when we're trying.
Veronica.
Art. Yes.
Since I don't have a sheet of paper, I made a square and I'm just coloring on the needed eraser.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Okay.
color my silly Christmas story.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right, guys. So for those of you guys who are just coming in, We are just working on our line work right now, and we're about to take a break and shift gears, all right, and work on something different, okay? So line work is just right here where we work on our lines, all right? And so if you have paper and you'd like to try practicing this, I'm gonna leave this up for a moment, and you can try practicing your line work. And these are just different ways that we can use line to create a shadow, to create a pattern. And I'm gonna show you some examples of it here in a moment too. But if you have paper and you'd like to play with this a little bit, you can play with this while I'm talking, all right? Because I'd like you guys to be able to mess around a little bit and practice while I'm talking while we're in our class, okay? All right, so while you are working on this, I'm gonna go ahead and keep talking about a couple other things that we are going to be working on for today, for our comic books. All right. All right, so I'm going to leave this up for a moment. And let me also make sure I have everybody in who's joining us for our attendance here.
New Christmas story 1.
Ooh, I love it.
So he says, because the Mega Captain Colossal is supposed to be some really fun toy. And he said, and he's looking through his stocking and he says, I got the Mega Captain Colossal. And then his brother says, what? And puts his hands on his head, on his face. And then his brother's just like, did I just tell a lie there?
I love your stories, Katie. You always think your stories out really well. Your plot is really interesting. I like it. Whoops.
You're muted.
I lost you, Katie. I lost you. You got muted there somehow. Yeah, there you go.
I've got a bunch of really silly little clips in this book now.
Nice.
So I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing.
I also like that Sydney's going by Princess Sydney today. Very nice. All right. And Kaden, I've got you. I've got Josie. And
I just got a great new idea.
August, you did? Excellent. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the next thing that I want to cover today. Okay, so you can keep playing with your line work here, but I'm actually going to talk about one other thing that I like to talk about in terms of our comic books when we're doing comic book art. Okay, so when we are working on comic book art, we want to use, even though it's a very simple drawing, we still want to be able to see perspective. Does anybody know what perspective means or want to take a guess about what perspective means? Yes, Gigi.
I think it's like you look at a different view of things. Like,
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, your point of view, definitely. Okay, anybody else have any thoughts on perspective? Particularly when it comes to drawing, when we're working on a drawing of our own? Okay, so perspective is absolutely your point of view. And when you are looking at something and you want to show perspective or depth in the picture, there's a couple little tools that we can use, especially with comic book art with our lines, that help us to show perspective. And it just helps our pictures to look more realistic. And it helps us to see what's in the front and what's in the back. And then we can understand what's happening in the picture a little bit better. Okay, because if we have a picture and we have everything, actually I'll show you while I'm talking about it. If we have a picture and we have everything kind of placed at different spots, let's say, make a couple of squares here again, and we're gonna show some ways to use perspective. So when we place our objects into our picture, we can be careful so that people understand a little bit more about where everything is, what's in front and what's behind. So let's say that I have a line here, and let's say I have a boat. Let's just say I have a boat, and here's my boat, whoops, and it's right on top of the water, and I have a sail. All right, let's just say I have this boat and it's sitting on top. And then maybe there's a cloud or a mountain, and it's right up here. Okay? So if I have everything separate on my picture, it's a little harder to understand what's in front and what's behind. So I'm going to show you just with the same picture how we can overlap, and then we can see a little bit more about what's in front and what's behind. Okay, so from here, let's say I've got that same boat. And I'm going to move it off to the side a little bit, kind of like we were talking about our composition, our rule of thirds. And then I've got my sail coming over this way. And another sail over here. And then maybe I can see that the water is a little bit coming behind. It's coming behind there. Okay, and then the mountains, maybe they're coming up like this, moving down. And we have another mountain coming up this way. All right, so I can kind of see how that boat fits in space a little bit more. Does that make sense? So it kind of looks like the boat, since it's now overlapping the mountains and the water, I can see where it is a little bit better. Okay, does that make sense? So if you overlap something, let's see it there, Josie. Nice. Yeah, exactly. So if you overlap it, I can see what's in front and I can see what's behind. So it's a nice way to show our perspective. All right, show our perspective, which is just our point of view, how we're looking at something. I'm going to do another example, and you guys can play with this with anything you want. You can use any subject you want. Maybe you want to use a shape, a circle, or a triangle. Maybe you want to use a character that you like to draw. And I just want you to see if you can overlap something in your picture to show that that subject is in the front and there's something else behind.
I'm doing a Thanksgiving one where he says, like, I found a turkey. I could draw mountains behind them.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Just because they're outside this time.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Whoops. Make sure I got everybody in here. Okay. And you guys, if you don't have it already, if you're ever having trouble getting in, you can always email me. I try to keep my email open so that you guys can get into, just if you're having any trouble, okay? So make sure you always can use that if you need it. All right. All right, so I'm gonna show another example here, and you guys can keep working on it at your own time. We're just working on having something overlap, something in the front and something behind, and that's our perspective. And if you have something you wanna show me, you can go ahead and hold it up to the camera, okay? And remember, you can always email me things too if you'd rather. Okay, so let's see. Let me go ahead. Let me see here if I can do, I'm gonna do 2 boats here. And then I'm gonna show another way. So if I have the same thing, let's say I have 2 boats. And I have one like this. And one over here. Let me just draw it out, and then I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about it here. Okay, so if I have these 2 boats that are in my picture, which one do you think is in the front? The bigger one or the smaller one?
The tiny one.
The tiny one?
Bigger one.
Or do you think that one's behind?
Behind.
Behind, yeah, exactly. So when you're working with perspective, one way to show that something's in front is to have it overlapping something else. And another way, if there's 2 things that are pretty much the same size, but one's a lot bigger, that usually means that one's a lot closer. All right, so if you have, maybe you have like one animal that's in front and then one animal that's further back, you could show that by making the animal that's closer a lot bigger. Same thing with people or objects or boats, anything at all. In general, if 2 things are the same size, the thing that's a lot bigger is in the front. And you can start noticing that just when you're looking around and you see something that's very close to you. A lot of times it's gonna look a lot bigger than something that's really far away. Even if you see a mountain, a huge mountain, but it's really far away, it's gonna look a lot smaller. All right, Josie, let's see.
I made 3 boxes. So there's the girl just whistling, walking across the street, and all of a sudden she sees a ghost. To be continued. Dun, dun,
Ooh,
dun.
nice. I like the to be continued. Very good storytelling. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. Just make sure we got everybody here. And if you have anything you want to show me, you can go ahead and show me.
I'm almost done with my Thanksgiving one.
You are? Nice. You were quick, Katie.
Yeah,
I have something, but I haven't finished it yet.
I have to color my.
That's okay. There's no rush. When we're doing these sessions, we're kind of just practicing with things. And so you don't have to feel like you're rushed to show me anything. You can just practice with it. And then if you have something that you want to show me, you can. All right. But you don't have to rush. Ooh, look at that. Wow. Nice overlapping. I love your mountains. Whoa, beautiful, Sydney. That looks really great.
Thanks. I drew a mermaid in the water.
That is very cool. I love it. All right, guys, we're going to keep working with this perspective. And you guys can play with what we've talked about so far. I have one more thing. And don't worry, I know this is a lot of information. And we're going to be going over this throughout the semester. So if anything is kind of like, seems like a lot and you just want to continue focusing on your line work or your overlapping, that's totally fine. But I have one more thing that I wanted to show you that helps us to show our perspective, especially when we're working with a simple little square like we do in the comic books. All right, and the last thing that I wanted to show you is when you are working on your perspective in a comic book, the lines that are thicker, that are darker, tend to be in the front. All right, and I'm going to show you an example of that here. And I'm actually going to use my charcoal pencil. Let me grab it. And you don't have to use all of these ways of showing perspective. They're just different things that you can use, different tools that you can use so that your drawings look more realistic. All right, so let's say that I have the same thing. We'll do the boat and we'll do kind of the same drawing here. Whoops, let me make sure that you can see. So I've got my boat and the boat's in the water and I got my sail coming over here. Another sail over here. I got my water coming across. Maybe I have those mountains. I'm using my overlapping. Now, another thing that we can do that shows us what's in front is the object that's in front, in this case, our boat, is gonna have a thicker line here.
Wait, Miss Veronica, are you recording?
I am, yeah, I'm recording it just in case anybody gets kicked off.
Oh.
Then you can watch it back if you need to.
I was just wondering because it was just like, I thought it was just when you were talking that came up.
No, and you all, just in case, and let's say something happens, you have a doctor's appointment, something happens and you can't make class, I wanna make sure that you guys can come back and watch it if you want to, okay? So I'll have those available for you. All right, so let's say this is your boat and that line is a lot thicker, right? And that kind of helps us to see that that boat's in front. Can you see that a little bit? So it's the same image, but if I use a darker line on the object that's in front, that helps us show that something's in front too. So we have lots of options, little ways that we can show what's in front and what's behind. All right, so we're going to play with this. Anything that you want to work on that we've gone over today, you can play with your lines, your pattern, or you can play with your perspective. I'm going to leave this up here for a moment just so you guys can see it.
I made a short story. It's one page.
Good. Wow.
So the girl's walking, having a nice time, and then she sees a ghost. To be continued. And then the ghost says, "What are you gonna do now?" And then the girl says, "Scream, yell." And then she starts screaming and screaming for help. And then she sees the police. The ghost starts screaming. The ghost gets arrested, and the end.
Whoa. You have a lot of details in your story. Thanks.
I have a question. question. How do you arrest something that you can't actually touch? Touch ghosts or what?
Maybe
No,
in the
no,
story you can touch
the
the
guy. No, it was a guy in a costume trying. It was a robber in a costume trying to scare people away.
Makes much more sense now.
Like a Scooby-Doo type situation.
Yeah.
I see.
Now I have finished my little Thanksgiving comic thing.
There was an invisible string attached to a tree, and then he put his legs in the costume.
Oh, I see.
Um,
I like it. I like your crime solving.
so see, they're standing in this mountain range area. These two.
Yeah.
And then the younger brother says, "Brother, I found a turkey." And then his older brother says, "Really?" and walks over. And then he says, "Ack." And then he thinks, "Ack, it's a stubby." His head. And then there's also like an coming out, but I should probably erase that since the other part's better. I forgot about the
You guys are gonna have a lot of really cool stories to show at the end of this. We're gonna do, at some point, we'll start actually kind of working on one specific story and really develop that story. All right. So you have a lot of ammunition. You have a lot of options to pull from.
This story is actually these stories are all about the same characters. So it is kind of a story, but it's just parts of their life just put in as like a little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it basically is for.
That's how comic books are, huh? Hey.
Yeah, but it's more like it's not all at the same time. It's like Christmas and Thanksgiving aren't at the same time.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. It's
Now,
not all of the
Guess
same.
what?
and now to make another
This
story.
whole notebook is called Josie Short Crime Adventures.
Oh my goodness, I love it, Josie. That's awesome. All right, and then Lola, hey, how you doing, Lola? Hi.
Sorry, we're having real troubles with that link.
With the, what was it doing? Was it just not bringing you into it, or?
It wasn't bringing us in. Yeah, so then I do it manually, and it says no.
Huh? Okay.
I don't know why. It's like 5 times, and then it's a trick. Then it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Huh, I'll take a look. See if I can figure something out.
Josie, did you get braces?
No, it's a retainer.
Well, Lola, you know what? I was just going to do a little review of what we were going over today. So you are just in time. No worries, okay?
My sister has a retainer.
Okay,
You're good.
so he's having a super fun time got a retainer, and then he's like, "Uh-oh, no drift."
Nice, Sydney. I like it. So listen, really quick, you guys, I'm going to mute everybody for a second so that I can do a little review of what we went over today. Okay, so I'm going to mute everybody for a minute. I'm going to do a review, and then we're all going to show what we're working on. Anybody who wants to show what you're working on, you can show that. Okay, so for today, we went over perspective. And perspective just means your point of view, how you're looking at your picture. And when you look at something, there's generally going to be something in front and something behind. Okay, so if you take a picture and you try to place something in front, one way that you can show that is to make the object that's in front have a darker line. That tends to show us that that object is in front when we're working on comic books. Okay, and then another way that we can see that something is in front is that the object in front tends to be a little bigger. So if you have two objects that are the same size in real life, but one of them is further away, the one that's further away is smaller. It tends to be a little bit smaller. Okay, and these are things we're going to go over through the whole semester, so you don't have to feel like you get it all in one shot, okay, because we're going to keep on going over it. And then another way that we can show that something is in front is because it overlaps what's behind it. Okay, so that object is in front, and then the objects that are behind are kind of tucked behind it, and they look like they're further back. Okay, so those are some ways that we can look at perspective, and we're going to keep on going on over those through the whole semester. So don't feel like you got to get it all, but just start to think about it when you're doing your pictures. And then another thing that we talked about is how we can use our lines in interesting ways. All right, so comic books use a lot of lines. Sometimes they don't have color, it's just black and white. So these are all different patterns. We can make little dashes, we can make little X shapes, and you can start to notice maybe in some of your favorite comic books how the artist is using those lines and what it looks like in your comic books too. Okay, so that's a
Miss
little,
Veronica.
yes.
I made my little first guy.
Whoa,
He's playing with a ball.
I love it. Very cool. Wow, look at that. You molded them right into your eraser. That's amazing. I love it, Luke. Thank you. So guys, your kneaded erasers are really nice for charcoal and for erasing and for smoothing things out, especially with your charcoal, but you can also make sculptures with them, as Luke has found out. All right, I'm gonna let you play a little bit more with what we've gone over today. Ooh, Isabel, let me see it. Isabella, I can almost see it into the camera there. Can you hold it up a little bit
I
closer?
want to show you something.
Okay, I'm gonna take
Close
it
my pen.
show me what you're working
I've
on.
used that pen a lot to draw
Yeah.
a bunch of maps for my birthday camp trip.
Okay,
It's really fun.
cool. Thanks, Isla. I love it.
I've got a few more maps somewhere. I have no
You
idea
really like
where.
to do maps, huh, Isla?
Yeah,
Yeah.
going on a birthday camping trip. Trying like a lot of trouble, the equipment.
Ooh, let's see it there, Kaden. Can you hold it up a little higher? Whoa, oh my goodness, look at all your details. I love it. And I love your long box at the top because a lot of comic books have like the little squares and then there's some long ones with a bigger scene. That is really cool. Thank you.
Can I show you my drawing? I worked really hard on it. I'm gonna make, I call them bubble animals. I made a pig and I'm gonna use them in the rest of my comics.
Okay.
I think that they're really cute.
Oh, wow. I love it. Very cool, Gigi. Thank you. So we're going to take a little time to share here. If you want to share something that you're working on today, you can share something you're working on today. If you'd like to share something that you are working on outside of here, you can too. What was that?
I have a question.
Yes.
Since I want to work on my map,
Mhm.
can I leave?
Why don't you keep working on your map, and then can you just keep your, you can even turn your video off if you like, but can you stay on the Zoom, and then I just want to do a little closing at the end. Okay, so you guys, if you have something that you want to work on quietly, that's okay with me. Just don't leave all the way because I'd like to do a little closing at the end. Okay, and then if you have anything else, you don't have to just show me what you're working on today. You can also show me what you're working on in your free time too, because I want to see what you're working on. We get a little extra time together with your class because we have our comic book and our art class too. And so I'd love to see what you're working on also. Oh, wow, look at that, Kaden. Whoa, very interesting. And what are you using for your tools on that?
Charcoal, colored pencils, and some Sharpie.
Whoa, very cool. So
I mean,
that,
on this one, I don't really, yeah.
wow. Where do you get your ideas from? What makes you think of those pictures?
I don't know. Really, I don't know.
Cool, I like it. Very nice. And so that's mixed media, what he's doing there with the Sharpie and the charcoal and the colored pencils, different types of tools. And so it's a mixed media piece to use all of those things together. That's really interesting.
And on the other one, I used charcoal. I don't know what this pen's called.
The
Then
drawing.
the regular pen and some colored pencils.
Nice, I love it. Thank you, Kaden.
And then I made another guy that's dancing.
Yeah, Luke, look at that. So how are you molding those? Are you just using your fingers, or do you have something that you're using to create that shape?
So for the platform, the square, I use the pencil to roll it out, and then I kind of shape it with my hands, and then everything else I just do with my hands.
Cool, thank you.
And then this guy's juggling.
Whoa. Wow,
Juggling
really,
and dance.
really interesting.
They're entertainers.
What was that?
They entertain people. They're
Oh,
entertainers.
absolutely. I like it. Whoops. Let me see who we got coming in here.
I'm about to finish my St. Patrick's Day catacon trap story.
Okay. Do you want to share it with us? Do you have it ready, or do you want to wait a second?
What about April Fool's Day?
I just have to finish coloring it. I don't have an April Fool's yet.
You should. That's my half birthday.
I will do that soon.
All right. So I know it seems like we're losing people a little bit today, kind of. I don't know if it's from the Zoom or what. I'll have to check on the link here.
Lots of people are losing their internet.
Art.
And sometimes it's really hard because everybody else is like on Zoom and stuff. Your parents are at work. Maybe your siblings are also at school.
Yeah.
This is art.
So, you know what? I'm actually not sure. So, if your screen is saying art for your name, can you? Oh, there we go. Okay. Thanks. I just kept getting confused because some of the names are a little different. Okay. Thank you.
Isabella is showing her picture.
Oh, thank you, Isabella. Cool. And Isabella, is that your kitty? Love how you did the colors too, for the mouth and everything. That's really neat, Isabella. Thank you. Let's see.
Yes, my cave people.
Let's go to August here. August, can I see that one more time? Would you mind holding, August, would you put, yeah, thank you, so I can see it. Whoa, look at that. Wow.
I just decided to draw a dragon in a land where all the clouds were faces, and then there's these things right here are little zombies driving, instead of cars, they're driving their ships around.
Nice. Wow. Very creative. I love it. All right, Gus, how are we doing today? I know I keep losing you. How are you doing? Do you have anything you want to show me?
No,
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to show me anything.
I'm still working on it.
Okay, sounds good.
So maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
Next class.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So listen, I want you guys to have plenty of time to show things that you want to show, but if you ever feel like you don't want to or you don't have anything you want to show right away, don't worry about it. There's no pressure on that. And I also want to make sure you guys know, since we see each other 4 times in the week, we see each other a lot. So that's a lot of art. So if you're ever feeling kind of tired and you want to just doodle, or you want to take a minute to kind of just work on your own stuff while we're having class, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We got a lot of time to go over these concepts. So I just want you to feel really comfortable with this class, and you don't feel like you're stressed out, like you got to be working really hard on the concept each day. Because if you need some time to kind of chill out and work on your own stuff, I'd like you to stay in the group as much as you can, so you can keep up with everything. But I do think it's okay if you want to doodle on your own stuff or make some really cool sculptures. Thank you, Luke. I love those. Really, really cool.
Miss Veronica,
Yes.
I finished my St. Patrick's Day tiny thing for that. So the little brother opened his leprechaun trap and pulled out something that he thought was a catacon. So he said, "I caught a catacon," and then his brother said, "Really?" And then he thinks, it's just a stuffy. Because he just told his brother it was a real catacon.
I like, I see the image. Can you put the image up in the camera?
Catacons are actually just leprechauns, but for cats.
Oh, I see. That was gonna be my next question. Cool. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Is that your idea or is that something that you've seen?
My idea.
Nice.
I once made a picture with a bunch of leprechauns crossing a rainbow to get to the pot of gold. I actually have it right here.
Yay.
They're all singing a song. Get these guys.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, that's
We
great.
got Chubby Chubson, Normal Nick. I got Tiny Tim, Tall Tasha, Fancy
Some of my
Frank,
comments I made.
and Tiny
Comics I
Tim,
made.
which I think is very cute.
Awesome.
And then I also made the sunset.
Oh, wow. Cool. I really like your really bright saturated colors there that you used, Gigi. It's really, really bold. I like. All right, and I think Franny's gonna go get her comics that she wants to show. And then we're gonna have another minute or two for anything else that you wanna show, if there's something you wanna show before we finish up. And we do have our art class tomorrow. So if you can make sure, we're gonna shift gears, we won't be working as much with the comics because we're gonna be back in regular art class tomorrow, but make sure that you have some paper. And then if you have that bag of the drawing tools, bring that. But if you can't find it or if you don't have it handy, just bring something that you can draw with, okay? Because we're still gonna be drawing tomorrow. You don't have to bring your paints tomorrow, okay? And let's see what Franny's got here. Oh, she's not back yet.
Miss Veronica,
Yes.
I can show you an example of a real catacon.
All right.
Welcoming Mars the kitten, the catacon.
Oh, look at Mars. What a sweetie.
Catacon.
How are we doing, Franny? Did you find your comics or if you didn't? No, that's okay.
He was way smaller. Like last time, in second grade, he was way smaller. It was so cute. He
Aw.
was like tiny.
Oh, he was so little. Well, now he's a full-grown catacon.
We made a cow bubble animal.
Actually, it's probably just a little red
Taking the cow.
little red furred kitten.
Mars has grown so much.
I know.
Dude.
He's grown up. He's all grown up.
You ever make Mars the comic, the character of your comics? Is that what you based your catacons off of?
No, I'm just thinking I can't see anybody. I was just thinking I might put him in a comic soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet Mars would love to be the character of a comic.
He can be a catacon.
April Fool's Day one. He
Yeah.
could be like an April Fool's, like one of the cat people, one of the cat people could be like tricking their brother or something, and then they say, "Oh, I have a stuffed cat for you," and he opens it and it's a real cat, a feisty real cat.
That's a good April Fool's joke. All right, guys, so we only have a couple minutes left. If you are not, if I can't see you on your screen and you can still hear me, go ahead and come back into the room for a moment because I just want to close up with everybody and just let you guys know a couple things. Ooh, let's see that, Madeline. Oh, nice. I love your dialogue there too. All right. So for our comic today, for your comic book class, we went over perspective and we went over some line work with it, right? So we're going to go ahead and revisit that the next time we come to class. But if you want to keep playing with that in between, just playing with your lines or playing with your perspective, thinking about it whenever you're drawing something, what's in front, what's behind, you can work on that in between. I'd love to see anything you want to show me. And you can always email me pictures of anything. You can also email me if you're having trouble ever getting into the Zoom. I had that happen today. Gus was having some trouble getting in. If I see your email, I can help you. You just send you the link really quick or try to figure out what's going on too, okay? And one other thing I want to tell you about that is if you ever have trouble with your internet or you can't get on or you get kicked out and you can't get back on, I am going to record these so you can watch it. Okay, so if you ever feel like you're missing something, you're having trouble one day with your class, I can give you the recording of it too. Okay, does anybody have any questions over what we went over today? Everybody feeling all right?
What is your email, Miss Veronica?
My email, let me go ahead and put that into my chat box here so that you guys have it. And it's also in the parent square too. If you guys look in your parent square, whoops, you know what? Let me make that go to everybody. There we go. Okay. Okay, so you have it right there. You can jot it down, or if you guys look at your parent square, there's a message from me to all of your parents that has my email in it too. Okay? All right, you guys, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for all your hard work today. And I will see you, I believe it is 10 a.m. tomorrow, 10 or 11. Okay? All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Lola. Hey. I'm just
Bye
leaving.
bye.
See you later.
Bye bye forever.
You do.
Sorry, I have to leave. I just had the sneezes.
No, that's okay. We're wrapping up. I'll see you later. Whoa, look at that, Sydney. Wow. I love it. That looks amazing. Thank you for showing me that.
And then I still have that one square left to fill in.
Yeah, that's okay. You can take your time with it. Cool. Thank you. I love it. Thanks. All right. I'll see you later, Princess Sydney.